a little more business, less esoteric. So something that we've changed over time is our strategy towards the marketing aspect of our videos, which is the things we have control over are the thumbnails and the titling and the description so that it's searchable.
Yeah.
And recently we've revamped again. We've tried really earnestly following all the suggestions, but like keeping it arty and to our taste, and then saying, screw you, we're just gonna do artsy fartsy and make these pop art thumbnails and these somewhat inscrutable titles. And then now we're kind of back to let's follow the advice to the letter. And just be weird about it.
Yeah, like just make the rules that we've said this with the thumbnails in particular. Like we were just nauseated with thumbnails. I don't know how long people have been doing it, but making the eyes bigger, making the face bigger, because the algorithm that picks it up, your tube buddies say that this is what people are reacting to, and they're
like
right.
Some people do it even like monstrously big eyes.
And it looks ugly and horrible, and it works.
Yeah.
Which is just so. At this point, rather than fight it, making that some kind of experiment of like, well, what happens when we play with that idea?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Is like all smiling. Every thumbnail is going to be a smiling close up of either or both of us.
I mean, give or take. There's not a lot of smiling, and I'm not making anyone's eyes bigger or anything like that. But like.
But you're picking pictures with our eyes open.
Yeah.
And you are whitening the whites of our eyes.
Yeah. So what happens when we play with that? I mean, it's like any kind of. The thumbnails themselves has been a thorn in my side for whatever 10 years. When I looked at them in the early years of YouTube and being like, there must be like some kind of why do people just let the YouTube algorithm pick up whatever picture and choose that?
Yeah.
Like there must be a way to make a thumbnail for these things. Mm-hmm. And then as it became a more lucrative industry, then people started doing it. And the idea of like, as a graphic designer, like I've designed magazine covers, like this would be great. Like imagine what you could do with a thumbnail. Mm-hmm. And the idea of putting something so small as some kind of piece of art, like you can do it. And I would dare to say that we've done it on ours, that we've now removed because no one clicks on them.
Yeah, because I think the least successful was when we were taking the advice but like adding our tweak to make it feel artsy and look better than just a plain old thumbnail.
Yeah.
That didn't work. Now that we're just like, you're picking a nice but straightforward photo of one of us and, you know, doing the color editing, pumping up our eye colors.
I make it silly with like a weird like text title or something.
Yeah, and that's how we
are playing with it.
Retain our usness. But it's working.
Yeah.
We've gotten far more attention since you've started doing that.
Which is
in fact, if you're a new viewer to our full podcast, which from the numbers we do have some. Hello, welcome. I did meant to say this at the top of the episode. If you would prefer to be listening to a podcast version, we are on iTunes.
Oh yeah.
Or we have an RSS that your podcatcher can catch. So we'll put a link to that too. But it is following the conventional advice to the letter works better than following the conventional advice but changing a thing.
Well, and that we're not. It's so easy to like blame YouTube and the algorithm of this, you know, Sarah Connor Matrix world that it's the robots that are doing it to us, but it's us that are clicking on it, on the big fat eyes and wide smiles. So the robot's just going like, that's what the meatbags want. Just give it to them. So I would manipulated. I would say as an artist dealing with that is a far more Andy Warholian thing to do of how are we going to manipulate cans to be more appealing in an artistic way.
I feel like the strategy of making a thumbnail that we think is interesting to look at failed, which is like on the one hand, it's a little discouraging, but it's also only the thumbnail.
Yeah.
So,
well, the problem is like we could be proud of the thumbnail, and we have had people that were like, "These are great thumbnails." Like, great. What'd you think of the video? Didn't watch it.
yeah.
Hey, well.
So we need to, that actually needs to be.
I may have spent a day working on the thumbnail, but I spent 3 days working on the video.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's a thing that we're doing, and we've noticed that it's helping. So.
And a lot of
welcome to our channel.
What has done has taken a lot of the pressure off. Like, this is just easy work. Like, it's not, my brain is going into all these, like, how do I work on sound manipulation and video editing and stuff like that. It's really just like, just whip this shit together.
Well, not that we're not proud of it though, but it, like, don't torture yourself over it.
But that means, what that does mean is that means you can work harder in other areas rather than like, if you're buried in the math of something of like rearranging every little bit that no one's going to look at, and you're spending hours doing that. Meanwhile, like the bigger project, because now we're talking about like bigger projects that we're doing rather than like, you know, is the ratio for this screen app the best or something like, how are the colors? What's the best camera we can use for this? We're like, we got a pretty good. It'll probably be that camera. That's fine. But what's the story that we're telling? So it actually makes a different kind of focus of what we're doing as a piece of art, like the bigger concept.
I think it's an easy thing to fall into of like, how do I can technically improve all of these things. So if I do improve all of these things, then I will have success.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've decided our road to success is through better writing.
And doing almost exactly what we want. The thing is, like, in the end, I don't really care what goes on the thumbnails. Like, I would like it to be a cool piece of art.
But so that the technicalities feel like achievement, but actually they're distracting you from like doing the work. And so put the thumbnails on autopilot. Stop worrying about our equipment. Let's get a funny performance down on video.
Rather than thinking of like, for 2 days, the best description, because it's a really great title of a piece of work that you would make. Like, we're not writing our book, we're writing a thumbnail for a video that somebody's gonna watch once.
Yeah.
So if TubeBuddy says that use these words, and we're like, but it's killing me. This is just like, no, use those words, try to put it in a way that sounds smart, and don't misspell it, and then just move on.
Or do misspell it, because everybody misspells it. That drives me crazy. We have a couple titles that are the wrong your, because nobody online uses apostrophes. So if you want to get found, you can't use an apostrophe, and that hurts my eyes.
Not just apostrophes, all kinds of sentence structures. And then when you add in different kinds of slangs and umlauts, and like, it's just basically made to be visual. Like, I mean, there's some people that just put emojis. Like, what are you doing? Cake. Is this about cake? No.
No, but people like cake.
Yeah, love cake.